Hi and welcome to the channel Southwood Designs. Today we're going to be building a customised knife block for someone who'd seen our standard one on the Southwood Designs store on the Etsy site and wanted to have a customised, custom-made block built to his specifications. So let's crack on. So the standard blocks are this sort of size and they hold 11 knives each. They're in Merbau top shoulder with oak sides, or oak top shoulder with Merbau sides, and the contrasting base as well. And so we went back and forward. This customer who had requested a certain size, he wanted to be able to house his knives that he's got. He's got a nice collection of knives and he wants to be able to store those nicely and safely in the knife block. But also he's got some scissors and he needed a wider than standard slot to put the scissors in. So we went through some planning, and you can see here here's part of the planning process. We went back and forward with a number of designs, number of sizes, and we agreed on a wider than normal block. So this is normally 30 centimeters wide. We looked at one that's about 40 centimeters wide, and we've got 10 knife slots, I think. Let me just quick count: 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 knife slots across the top here, and then that one just here is a scissor slot, and that's the wider one. And he also wanted wider than normal shoulders on this knife block too. So standard each end, but wider than normal shoulders. So we've basically gone from this design back and forward over a number of weeks to work out what was required. A few gaps in between due to holidays and COVID and so on, but took a little while to get there. But it's now gone from this, the planning stage, to this, the final product. So you can see it's quite a bit bigger than the standard blocks. It's taller, first of all, and it's also wider. It's 11 centimeters inside wide, and you can see here the bigger gap on the my right, your left hand side, I think. So the scissors block is this one just here, and then the rest of these are the knife blocks with the wider shoulders across the middle and the standard ones at each end. Nicely chamfered along each side across the tops. Beautiful Merbau here. I've just got to give it a final polish. Beautiful Merbau here, and oak at the top and in this base here. So it is quite a chunky piece. Haven't weighed it yet, but I'll weigh it shortly and we'll get this posted off to our customer. I'm sure I'll be happy with it. There's been a lot of work in the preparation and design of it, making sure that we got the measurements right. And so I think certainly when he gets it in his hands, he'll be very happy with it, and look forward to looking after his great set of knives for many, many years to come. So now I'm just going to run through the build process. The top of this is stunning. You just got beautiful accents. I'm going to get the camera and just zoom in on this so that you can see. But it's got some beautiful accents of the timbers. It's just amazing how the timber comes out, particularly with we're using a mineral oil and beeswax to finish it off, and it really does bring out the beauty of the natural timber. So we're now just going to run through with a voiceover. We'll just run through the build of the knife block so you can see what steps were taken in order to make this. Okay, let's go on to the next stage. So what we're doing here is just getting the measurements down on paper to make sure that we've got those right of the overall components of the block. The two sides, the shoulders across the top that you can see there, and the base. And again, the standard old rule, make sure that you measure 2 or 3 times and cut once, and then you'll get it right. So measurements down on paper, now getting them down onto the wood. This looks a bit out of whack, this measurement. It's definitely at 90 degrees. I can assure you, it's actually the angle of the camera. There you go, you can see that's 90 degrees based on the T-square. And so getting these measurements in place to be able to cut, this is part of the shoulders, the shoulder knife block, or the knife holder part, which I call the shoulder, just measuring those out. These are going to be 2 pieces. I'm going to cut this timber in half, 2 sections like that, and I'm going to glue the 2 together to give me the thickness. I need 30 millimeters depth for the shoulder. So this timber is 18 millimeters as it comes, and so 2 glued together is going to be 36 millimeters. Then I'll cut it back once I've glued it together and it's had time to dry overnight. I'll cut it back to 30 millimeters or 3 centimeters, and that'll give me, for the bulk of the shoulders, the depth of the shoulder that I need. So the middle shoulders are all 30 millimeters, and then the 2 end ones are going to be 18 millimeters. That's easy because that's the standard thickness of the timber. So cutting them all, you can see I've got a stop block just on the right hand side, and that just means that I can do accurate cuts every single time. Don't need to remeasure. I just know that the stop block, if I hold the timber that I need to cut up to the block, it's going to measure exactly what I want it to measure. So fair bit of glue on this, 2 bits together. You just need to make sure that you're going to get squeeze out around the sides, and good coverage all across all of the timber. I've already matched it up. You can see the stripes on the top match at the bottom. So when when they're cut and when they're fitted, these shoulders, they'll look pretty nice and pretty fancy. Look, quite like the timber here, the light colour, but it's going to come out a fair bit darker. Oh, bit of a colour change there in the video. It just went golden all of a sudden. I think it was a different time of the day. Not sure, but suddenly that light came through. So again, the next part of the block, just getting those glued up and getting them quick clamp at first and then clamp them in place properly. And you can see all that squeeze out. That's a really good thing, the squeeze out, that shows that you've got coverage right up to the edge which you need. Just on some grease-proof paper to stop it sticking to the bench top. And then, so those first 2 that I made are going to make 8 shoulders, and then these will make the final 2 shoulders to give me the 30 millimeter shoulders that I need. So there we go. So now the glue up's done, the clamps have been taken off. Just giving these a rough tidy up and a rough clean up on the sander, on the belt sander. Just makes it easier with the belt sander for bulk sanding. And giving the edges a tidy up. There's a bit of squeeze out left. I tried to wipe a lot of the glue off as I went, but just getting rid of that glue squeeze out too. And then here I'm just taking the edge off of these blocks so that we've got a nice clean edge to work with. I've made them longer than I need, but again, as before, you can see that there's a stop block just on your right hand side of the video, and I'm holding the blocks up to that. That's exactly 11 centimeters wide. Bit of slow-mo there for effect, and see, you can see my hands are nicely clear away from the saw blade, which is very important, safety first. So 11 centimeters wide are these blocks. You can see there that I've got all of them cut out, and then just doing a bit of sanding on the side pieces to make sure that they're finished nicely and ready to start the overall glue up. Right, this next stage, just cutting the chamfers on the shoulders of the knife block. Could have done that previously, but before I cut them in half, but that's okay. Here's the finish of the chamfers. They've come along quite nicely. You can see the grain in the timber there. It looks absolutely stunning later on once it's been finished. But certainly looking good. Now gluing up, got the edges in first, and I'll let those dry, and I've got those exactly right. 1 centimeter width at the first one, 0.5 centimeter for all the rest, and then the rest of the shoulders are in place here. And now just a bit of sanding and a bit of finishing after the glue up of the shoulders. They've had overnight to dry. So good to leave it as long as you can, rather than, it says half an hour to an hour, but just to be sure. So here's the assembly, or actually here's the pre-assembly, here's the finishing off in terms of sanding and so on. So this is the base piece. This also is oak, and gluing on both sides. That's going to sit on there, and then a bit of glue on each of the shoulders. Nice, using the homemade device to be able to spread the glue. Lucky I've got 10 of those, so I've always got a spare one. Sorry about the dad joke. And so now I'm just going to clamp this in place and definitely let this sit overnight as well. That's the base part being clamped. And again, you can see the squeeze out at the top. I'm just going to wipe that away with damp cloth. Plenty of pressure on this, because again, you want this to hold. And it's one of the pieces had a bit of a warp in it, one of the side pieces. So the glue is definitely going to hold it in place. And again, important just to make sure that you've got plenty of glue on it to cover all surface areas. So there we go, clamped up nicely, just ready to sit overnight and do its thing and dry off. So there we have it. This is just about the final product. It's just having the final lick of mineral oil and beeswax. It's a combination of the two, and it just really brings out the natural beauty of that timber. Isn't that stunning? I'm sure the customer will be very happy with it. The Merbau looks amazing, but just in a second, you have a look at the top of that oak. Those colours and the grain in the timber is just beautiful, just stunning. Wood, it's an amazing thing, isn't it? The stuff that you can do with it, the things that you can make with it, and how it looks once it's finished and had a bit of treatment. It's great. So look, thanks for watching. If you've seen this far through the video, just make sure that you hit that like button. That'll be great. If there's any comments you want to make, any questions, hit the comments box below. If you're not subscribed, make sure you do. A lot of people watch the videos, but not that many subscribe. So let's see if we can just turn that around. Just hit that subscribe button. And if you want to find out when the next video comes, hit the notification button. Thanks again for watching, and cheers.